Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here. So I'm back for a full day of testing Blade. I have him at 71 out of 80. It's a E0 Blade, and I'll be using a secret vow here. I do have his signature light cone here, but I won't be using it because it's not very relatable. If any of you want to know actually like what's the difference between a secret vow at Super Imposition 5 and this one here at Super Imposition 1, I have a video on the channel, just check it out. There's a comparison between both of them. But for the sake of this video, this is going to be an honest review of E0 Blade, which is relatively attainable for most people. I want to show you some actual numbers also, so that for those of us who are sitting on the fence, not too sure whether we are skipping a very broken character, super strong unit as well, or maybe is he actually quite skippable and are there alternatives. I'll be sharing my thoughts with all of these two in this video as well. What are we working with? What is the variables that we have? Other than the light cones, I have him almost maxed out. 5778 E0. I'm only just missing like this 5% crit rate, 8% HP as well. Relics I'm running, a 4-piece Eagle of Twilight line, and I have here a 2-piece Inert Sao Soto. I'm running really more crit rate than what I would have liked. I just can't seem to find any crit damage gear on this account, unless of course if I break this out, if you guys don't mind, I can break this to something that's maybe more reasonable, but I lose the 4-piece set of the Eagle of Twilight line. But I guess this 4-piece doesn't really matter too much anyway, because it's just action advance. So maybe just for this video, I'll actually look for a bit more higher crit damage just to give a better representation. I'll swap over to... Okay, and so now the ratio looks a little bit more palatable. 78, 120, not the best, but I think we can live with that. This is quite attainable for most people as well, so it's quite a fair representation. So who am I running with Blade at E0? I'm going to be running Bronya with Planetary Rendezvous just for the wind damage bonus for the same type allies. I'm running her with this new Broken Kill set just for the additional 10% crit damage bonus. As you can see, I have her at slightly higher effect rest just to proc it, so we can see some numbers for Blade. Not very high crit damage. I hardly use Bronya. I like to play without like the very broken supports just to make my life a bit harder and more fun. I also have Lota, who's supposed to work very well with Blade and does work really well with Blade as well, as from the videos on our channel that we put out based on testing that we have done. Also, Sampo, I'm also going to be testing him up against Blade. One of the like biggest selling factors for Blade is he has a lot of wind break damage, does a lot of AoE as well, so if a lot of monsters are on the field, Blade is able to settle them quite well. A lot of wind damage on the toughness, which is much better than characters like, for example, Bronya and maybe Dan Heng, who's like a bit more single target. Before I share my thoughts, and let's get into some testing numbers so we can actually see. Don't want to just talk and be super boring. And for the sake of this like video, I know not all of us have like compared or completed the story quest, and that's why I'm in Bellabok here. Otherwise, I'll be in like the new areas. I just didn't want to like spoil the story for any of you guys as well. So let's go ahead and jump in with testing. I'm just going to be using this mod because it's weak to wind as well. Put out some buffs here.
Let's wait. Don't get complacent.
Okay, so just gonna smack this and let's see some numbers. Push. Okay, so this is what it looks like without Bronya's ultimate, just Bronya's buff. On a side creep here, so that's like 6k, 6k.
Nothing major. Receive divinity. Unnecessary.
You'll pay for this.
Okay, now I'm gonna push him up. I'm gonna first use the ultimate push.
To guard and defend. Crush them.
And push Blade up.
A blade knows no mercy.
Okay, now we're gonna focus on this guy and he will counter attack as well.
You chose the wrong enemy.
This battle is unavoidable. Lend me your strength. Lend me your strength.
Okay, let's see he's out.
Maybe savor it for me. Repay. I will
So about 26k if I push him up. No crits there. Okay, I don't really want to kill this unit because I don't want the drop, so I'm just gonna go ahead and back off real quick. Okay, now that we saw some actual numbers, we can kinda guess where he exactly falls. First things first, I don't think he's like as good as a single target damage dealer like Zealer, and in my opinion, Blade, if I were to like fast forward 6 months to 1 year, where he will stand in the meta, knowing that there might be other characters, which maybe Destruction, who knows, that is coming up. But one thing to factor in is I don't think he's going to be a main DPS in teams moving forward. He likely will be relegated to a secondary DPS role, which is also very solid. Doesn't mean he's a lousy character, but secondary DPSs generally need to have flexibility and don't consume too much skill points, so like a main DPS character can consume those skill points and do what they do best. The reason why he's a good secondary DPS is because after you use the skill once, you consume the skill points. After that, his enhanced basic attacks don't consume skill points at all. They don't generate any either, but means that he doesn't lose DPS from the lack of skill points. This allows you to run a lot more skill point hungry characters into the game. I would say like Jingyuan and Zila, they are both relatively hungry. You can run Yukong, who is also hungry as well. You can run Ting Chue, who is also very hungry for skill points. These characters all open up for him. The other nice part about Blade is he has both single target and AoE damage, which means he's also in a sense flexible, can fit into teams of a main DPS Jingyuan, main DPS Zila, because he does have a bit of single target and AoE component to help out a bit too. Because his follow-up attacks are again AoE, his ultimate is slightly AoE, his enhanced basic attacks are also slightly AoE, a lot more single target though. So that's what I like about him. I think honest review, he's very flexible, very strong and reliable DPS. But I don't think he is the main DPS that some of you are imagining him to be 6 months to 1 year out. And if you are planning to pull for a character to carry your roster, I do think it's better to perhaps wait in future. Maybe for some other characters might enter the game. I'm just putting like placeholders here that look like Dan Heng or maybe look like Yanqing with an ice element. I think these characters might be more interesting for a main DPS role. For now, if we are looking for a win DPS to fill our roster, because Hoyoverse always likes to do this, they always like to introduce like new monsters just to suit the character that might not sell well otherwise in the current meta. So they introduce, make it slightly better. You can see a lot more win weakness enemies as well suddenly in the game. And for those of you who feel pressured by that, you don't want to fall behind in the meta, I think another character that you can highly consider is Sampo, especially maybe if you are playing or pulling Kafka in future, you don't mind a bit of exposure to damage over time and you want to like have a feel how it works. He does a lot of windbreak damage. You can just build him for like break effect, also does very well. So let's just go real quick. I'm going to just show you what he looks like in battle so you guys can see for yourself. I know not everyone has Sampo very well built at 71 80 with a light cone, like a good night sleep well at super in position 5. So I'll just show you like a nice comparison just to wrap off the video. Okay, now let me show you how fast Sampo is actually able to shred one unit like that. So I'm just going to pump him up. Just use his ult. So you see it's like almost like 80%.
To betray my customers, I charge extra.
And now it's like almost left with 30%. So he really shreds bars very quickly. In comparison, for example, if I use Blades out here, you can see that it is chopping down about the same as Sampo's ulti also.
Savor it for me.
I absolutely didn't need this. I already have all characters at 71, so... But anyway, that's just for the testing, and as you can see, just to end off the video, I think Sampo is a very good replacement for any of us who maybe are needing a win type unit now, especially when more win weakness enemies are coming to the game. So don't feel pressured by Hoyoverse forcing you to pull the banner character. You can always choose Sampo as an addition as well. And if you like such honest content, I do this every single patch. Like and comment and subscribe if you found this video helpful and you want more of such content as well. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.